All right. Welcome to another video of psychology of women and gender. This is Zero Jimmy Pablo. This is chapter 14, and for this one, it's called Gender and Victimization. So, familiar with it? This is mostly the things that know about what is going on in the whole abusing to mental health situation, things like that, what kind of mental disorder they have. So that's what this chapter is mostly going to cover. Again, you're welcome to mute my video and just go through it, reading it without my voice on while pausing the video. But rather than that, if you're interested to any links to any of these sorts, I'll have it in the description. Any videos that follow, like clips, will be in the playlist of Angler Super 11, so that's where mostly will be in. I'll also show that in the description so you could find it easier and know where to look. Alright, so let's not further wait and let's get started to this chapter. Here we go. So in this first slide, we have women's movement for victimized in 1970. You could tell it shows everything you need to talk about from this area, from the rape to assault, human trafficking, all that you need to know about this slide from this one talks about it. Next one. And then you have this one, let's talk about it. Of course, all these links that you have right here are basically within Angler Super 11, and some links I'll leave in the description so you can able to know what this is about. Then we have this one, right, of course. Now this one, I was able to put a link in the notes, but this is rape and sexual assault. This slide basically talks about everything you need to know about that part and what you need to expect from it. You can also pause it and read everything from it. And then you have this one, of course. Now I was able to put these link in the notes. This is just the status of what you need to know about. If there's no other link, that means it may be a YouTube video on Angler Super 11 playlist. So when it's done with this video, you can see what exactly it looks out. All right. More status, of course. We have it in the description for any links. We could tell there's an example why I didn't report. Maybe it shows all the hands covering the mouth and everything written right there. So this is what this slide's going to be talking about. You want to pause the video to learn more about within this. You can help them to do that. All right, and let's go to the next slide. Then we have this one, of course. This is basically data raped, and you have a link right there that I'll put in the description, as well anything that talks about from this slide you could see from your own self. I'll pause in the video so you could read it as we continue the next slide. This is another one slide that's also talking about rape. Again, you know, it's mostly you could see the traits of each one that shows from like 1978. I mean, that's a long time. So I don't know how much that occurrences is going on, but that's what this one is basically talking about in this slide. Theories on causes of rape. You know, this is mostly a lot of stuff happening within community. So this slide will usually show what is actually going on with this, and it'll also be talking about it, etc., etc. All right, next slide. Theories on cause of rape research. That's what this slide is basically going to be talking about. You can also see examples of victimize from each category of what the experience it is. So that's what this one's about. All right. Then we have rape cultural. Of course, you have the two links to this, which you're able to see exactly on the description what you need to know about this part. That's what this slide's talking about, and you also have more information about it, so you can able to get a chance to go and read them. That's all firmly up to you. All right, next slide. Now we have rape cultural. You can see there's more examples, links, things you need to know about this slide and what it means on this example, what she's saying and what she's meaning, whole point, etc., etc. All right, next slide. Then we got this one, of course, that has a link to it. You can actually see it in my description, and you can find it right here on what the example is. It's telling you exactly from that point, but there's more information on that link that actually shows more about this particular slide. All right. Then who is the type of rapist? This slide is most likely showing, the good and the bad. I mean, depending on what the person's status, that's what this thing is mostly seen with percentages and the year of what we see one of them, 2011, and that's what this slide is going to cover. All right, next one. Then the fear of rape, of course, amongst it happens mostly in women, and it's mostly being reported unsafe rather than males. That's why that the site's going to be showing and covering with that. And then we have consequences of rape. You can see how much this slide will be showing those exactly pinpoints. If you want to pause to actually read them, you're happy to do so. I'll be going to the next one. Then we have this one, of course. I have the link in the description. This one's mostly in male's cultural role in this, rape attitudes. It shows you everything you need to know right there. And there's more information. You can take a look at that website link. They have it also in the description. Then you have more examples here, where it's basically the concept of, and the here where the concept is. And you have to clear, and then all those what it's telling you. So everything you need to know about this particular slide is shown right here. You can also pause it to read one of these to know what this is about. Then you have another constant. Now there is a link with this, but it's very, very long. So you can also find this on the description. I'll cram it in there somehow. And I just have to be careful how many words I'm putting there because there is a limit. And this slide basically talks about everything about what you're seeing right there with more information on that link. All right, next. Now we have the constant and power. This is basically what you need to know with this one. You can pause it and read it for yourself, know what this is about. All right, the next one. Then you have ways to protect yourself. It tells you everything you need to know right there. That's what this slide is also talking about with this one covering. All right, next one. Then you have this one, which is man, if you don't know what sexual harassment can feel like, that's what this slide tells you from that point and that point right there. And it says sees every single one. You see exactly what you're looking at. Then we have this one right here, which sexual harassment again. And then it shows you with this slide what it shows you from its point respective from the words, including the image you see right there. Now this happens a lot from my point of view, but we're not going to get into it. I mean, any other individuals who watch this probably have heard stories. You can also watch a YouTube video on English Super 11 playlist. That's where you're going to find it at from that particular point. All right, next one. This is also covering, which is the woman's reaction to sexual harassment. This is what this slide's talking about. The link is also in the description, as well as the YouTube video on Angular Super 11 playlist. So you can know more within this slide and what is actually referring to. All right. Next. Then we got this one. Of course, this slide is mostly the partner violence. This is like basically partner abuse, things that feel like you're scared in there. Now there is a lot of this in the description you can find from here, but again, I have to encourage those individuals. I would just rather seek help if this actually does happen. I'm not one of those individuals, but there is men out there who actually did do more of this than the women are. All right. Then we got this one. It basically shows a diagram of the will of physical violence, sexual, and shows you what's in it. If you could see it very clearly, it talks about the description and the power and control, what it does. It's sad. That's what mostly some individuals don't know could be experiencing. And we you have to always find solutions, maybe order a restraining order that maybe help to deal with this, combat this situation. So that way that you can get yourself out of this problem. And then we have this one where it was COVID-19 era and you had a lot of isolation, stuck at home, not able to leave, and it was really hard to focus. Now, I had the same problem too, from my own personal opinion, but it was a lot different than what we saw from the past. All right. I mean, from present, actually. Okay, next slide. Then we have partner violence again. You see the red flags of characteristics. It shows you right exactly there. If something goes wrong, something's not right. You know, it's always good to see this type of way of expressing this. Next slide. Then we have the consequences of being in an abusive relationship. That's what this slide is actually talking about. There is also signs from your mental health, so you have to be careful with that and get checked out because that really can be an issue. Then we can see PTSD and the brain. That's what this also sees. Whether you're male or female, you can see your brain activities, what type it is. The healthy brain to the difficult PTSD brain, the differences from those examples, from negative scan and positive scan. So that's how you know. Next slide. Then we have this one, of course. This is basically trauma stress disorder, PSDs. Now, I do have in the notes a YouTube video that I'll put on Angular Super 11. That's where you watch it, along with the link to the description. That's where you'll find it at. That's what this slide is mostly covering with. So you can find this mostly in there. All right, next slide. And then this one also, what can you do? This slide is basically going to tell you everything you need to know what this thing is about. You're welcome to pause it and to read it through it and so on and so on. So that way you can understand more within this slide that's covering it. Then we have the resources you can see from this example and the link to know more about it. It says stop SV. You could see each area from that respective and how it's helpful and useful when not out there. That's what this one's covering. And then you have this one as well. Also, it's basically the CDC IPV status. You see the each one, the role, what it takes. I also leave a link to be able to discover more about this. You're interested in this and able to knowledge more of what it means or want to know more about it. That's why I'm leaving it there in the description as well. You can check a look at it. Then we have more resources at the end of this where you can probably see so many resources. I have it right here in the notes. Each of them, I'll also leave these in the description so you can see exactly what this actually is referring to. So that's going to be it for this chapter. Stay tuned for maybe the final chapter that I'm going to be putting in. And yeah, thank you again so much for watching this and see you then.